So I've hit the
Hear me
record.
okay?
I can. I can. It's so great to see you and hear you. So we're live on
Very good.
recording here. And
You started recording?
I did. Thank you for meeting me. Our technical difficulty, it was a great learning lesson. So I want to just give a short kind of intro as to why I am bringing you to my neck of the woods in Annapolis in March, and then I'm going to open it up and ask you some questions if that's okay. I studied with you this time last year in Baja, where you are now, and part of my process was to learn about my own breath and to become the practitioner for self as I was for others. And you really helped me to, in a very practical, very logical, very simple way, learn the power of my own breath and how it can heal me from the inside out. And as a practitioner here in the Annapolis, DC, Baltimore corridor, I'm finding that my clients and many other folks who aren't yet my clients are experiencing a lot of the same thing. They're very anxious, they're very worried, they're very overwhelmed. And I would like to offer them the similar path of ease and simplicity that I found with your training from our community here. So I wanted to offer that to them. So I have invited you here to Annapolis, the outskirts of Annapolis. We're actually in Severna Park. And I understand that this is a full circle for you. So I'm gonna turn it over and allow you to give us a little bit of a background about where you started and why Annapolis is important in this process.
Yeah, well, it was my, the naval station across from the Naval Academy was my first duty station in the military after I graduated hospital corps school. And so I was assigned there as an X-ray technician. And on my first day, when I was inspecting my X-ray room, I realized that it wasn't meeting any of the health standards. There was no lead anywhere in the wall of the building. There was no radiation protection. No one, it was an old room. And so I ethically couldn't really take x-rays there without, people would be getting x-rayed when they're walking by the building. So I closed the department. I wrote a letter and said, I'm sorry, ethically, this isn't up to standards, radiation protection standards. And so I put myself out of a job on the very first day that I showed up. And so I had nothing to do for 2 years. So the Navy started basically loaning me out to the state, the Heart Association, the Red Cross, the State Police Training Academy, the Fire Department Training Academy. And so I was working with them, first responders basically. And that started my real work of using the breath to manage stressful situations. And it just there was that little spark that my childhood dream and my passion about breath started to take a form and a shape that was very practical and applicable in very real world situations. So yeah, to go back now to Annapolis after, from 1970, it feels really good to me. It is like a complete circle, and so it's going to be great to come in with the next level of helping first responders, anybody who's working in important high stress situations, to be able to manage our own emotional state, manage our own arousal, manage our own stress, but also to begin to give tools to people to get them through difficult, challenging moments, and to prevent burnout and stress, and to exercise what I would call like our spiritual muscles and the ability to connect more deeply with people, the ability to show up more in the way of who we really are, to communicate from our deepest self, to serve from our highest self. And so the breath is that way. The breath is that connection for us to really to come from who we really are and not just our head, and to connect with people at a deeper level so more work gets done. And so, yeah, I'm excited, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's the seminar that we're putting together speaks exactly to that. You know, when you talk about first responders, people in performance, high stress situations. You also wrote the book, Just Breathe, and I've read that book several times. I reference that book on occasion with my own clients and with my own practice. So can you tell us a little bit about how that book, you know, what was your motivation around writing this book, and how people can not only read it, but use it on a daily basis?
Well, yeah, it was really an amazing and really wonderful experience writing that book. It's my author story is the opposite of your typical author story, where you write your book, you send it to 100 publishers, and you get 100 Dear John, thanks but no thanks letters back, you know. And I had the opposite experience. The publisher, Simon & Schuster, you know, arguably one of the biggest publishers in the world, contacted me. So through I had a publicist, a friend, a student who knew the editors at Simon & Schuster. She basically at some lunch put a bug in their ear about me, and they started looking around, looked at the first book I had written, Shut Up and Breathe, which was my ebook. And so I signed a contract, and it was pretty interesting. I learned a lot about word count and how important that is in the publishing business. And I had never thought about word count. You just write how many words come out, and that's it. And so my original book that I sent them was 120,000 words and 35 chapters. And the book ended up with about 70,000 words and 5 chapters. So I have a tremendous respect for editors. And so the idea was we wanted to condense everything down, 40 years of study and practice, and condense that down into like a little handbook that a corporate executive could leave on their desk and, you know, pick it up and, I'm ending my day. What's a breathing exercise I can do to, like, okay, complete my day, shift into family mode, or I have a presentation. Okay, what's a breathing I can do to prepare for my presentation? And so that's what we were looking for, something that's accessible to the mainstream, something that provides very practical tools and also gives people a broad understanding of breathwork. So it's not just coming from my school or my approach, but I really wanted the book to just show people that breathwork it's the new yoga. It's the current biggest trend in health and wellness, period. And breath and breathing is entering the mainstream, and it's entering the collective consciousness. It's the tool of our day. It's meditation for people who can't meditate, you know. And so I think it's very timely. People are really ready for the next step in their evolution, for the next level in performance, to take their work or their practice to the next level. And breath is a key to that. So that's one of the reasons I'm really excited to get back to Annapolis. I think we have a lot of people who they're ready for the next level in whatever it is they do. And if they haven't practiced breath work for themselves, boom, something's sure to happen. And if they haven't learned how to incorporate breath work into what they do, then again, we got something that's just going to turbocharge. It's just going to take their personal practice and their professional work to the next higher level.
So for someone who has never done breath work or has no idea what breath work even means, how would you explain that to them or to us?
Yeah, we have to assume that people are interested in healing, in growth, in inner peace, in clarity, in focus. We have to assume that. And so assuming that people really are into personal growth and professional development and human evolution and ultimate potential or peak performance, then that's who we're speaking to. If you need to be convinced that you're capable of more, if you need to be pushed into being a better version of yourself, then you're probably not going to be attracted to breath work. People who are attracted to breath work are going through a change, they're recovering from a change, they're in the middle of change, and change could be, changing jobs, changing relationships, changing life cycles, retiring, beginning a career. So we're all in the middle of some change on some level. And the breath is a perfect tool for managing change. And so for someone who doesn't know anything about breath work or doesn't get, why breathe, what's it about? If we look at where breathing is in our experience, it's right there. It's a bridge between what's conscious and deliberate and what's automatic and unconscious, and a direct link to the autonomic nervous system. We have that part of our nervous system that takes care of all the most important features of us, heartbeat, chemistry, digestion, all those things that we can't be in charge of because we couldn't manage it. That part of our brain, that ancient part of our brain, the limbic system, the reptilian brain, that controls the most vital processes, blood pressure, skin, body temperature, all those, really most important processes. The breath is a key to hack into that level. So through the breath, we can make changes in our physiology. We can hack into our nervous system. We can access our immune system consciously. So this puts like a real power in our hands. So the breath is a tool. It's a bridge. It's a force for health, for growth, for change, and not only in body or mind, but also in spirit. And so breath work is a way to manage our emotions, manage our physiology, control our behavior, regulate our behavior. The breath puts us in touch with our creative energies. It puts us in touch with our inherent healing energies. And when we breathe consciously, we are getting a handle on our awareness, our consciousness, which is what sets us above all the other life forms on this planet. Consciousness, the essence of who we are. And so when we're breathing consciously, we're getting in touch with that really essential aspect of ourselves, of consciousness itself. The more conscious I become of my breathing, the more conscious I become in general. The more aware I am of my breath, the more aware I am, period. Aware of my reactions, aware of my thoughts, aware of my habits, aware of the effect that I have on people. And so all of those things, for those people who are making a real difference in the world, breathing becomes a very powerful tool for, for accessing our highest abilities. And it's also, what is breath work? Breath work is the use of breath awareness, mindfulness of the breath, and conscious breathing, breath control, regulating the breath, so that we can heal if we have illnesses, or we can grow into the next best version of ourselves.
Beautifully said. Thank you, Dan. So that takes me into my next question about this workshop that we're putting on. So we're going to be here March 4th through March 10th, just around the corner. And we've got 3 special workshops dedicated, as well as this fundamentals course, this back to basics. So you're going to be here on Monday night with a book signing, and we've found someone to do a cacao ceremony for us. So a small little kind of blessing on the way in, and a short meditation from you. So we'll have space for you to share a part of yourself and a part of this book. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're opening up a small intimate workshop for exactly those people you just spoke to, the healers of the world, the performers of the world, and the lovers of the world. So if you want to maybe share a little bit about your thoughts about how, from a healer, you know, for those of us who have clients, how can Breathwork support us as a healer and as part of our own self-care, the CEO or the executive or the CrossFit coach, and then those of us who are just, you know, trying to manage relationships, you know, the lovers of the world.
So I use my breath to drop into an intuitive flow. And I love turning people on to that ability. The breath can become like a switch. I mean, no matter what was just happening, no matter something might be bothering me, I had an uncomfortable conversation, but now I need to show up for who I am and why I'm here. And I don't want to carry that stuff over into the next moment. And so breath is a way for us to keep ourselves clean and clear and present and available. And it's a way to open our heart so that we can access heart intelligence in relationship to others. We can access body intelligence in relationship to others. Most people are trying to make their way through life in the world just using their mind intelligence. And the breath is how we awaken heart intelligence and body intelligence. And then our decisions are better. What comes out of us is better. Everything works better. And so, and healers especially, and helpers need to, you know, we pour ourselves into life so much, and we're constantly serving and constantly helping, constantly supporting. So we need to take care of ourselves. And so that's, you know, my passion is in serving people who are serving others and helping people who are helping others and healing people who are healing others. And not me, but the breath, turning people on to the healing power of the breath so that we can manage ourselves and we can give tools to the people we're working with to help them get more out of whatever it is that we're doing together.
Beautiful. Sounds juicy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it as well as partnering up. So then we have, so that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday we're kicking off this 3-day fundamentals course. And we've kind of tagged empowerment, right action, and emotional mastery as kind of our collective around this fundamentals course. So it's a 3-day kind of intensive. We're going to be joining forces Friday night, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. So would you like to give us a flow of what the fundamentals course is going to do?
Yeah, the fundamentals course, basically it's an attempt to distill 40 years of study and practice into a collection of basic skills, basic information, basic theory and practice, and knowledge and skills. So what it is, if you look at all of the schools of breath work, all of the approaches to breathing, ancient ones, Taoist, Hindu, Western styles, modern teachers, anyone who's working with the breath and has a genuine method related to the breath, we will find certain fundamentals in there. Doesn't matter what you call it, who you learn from, what type or style of breathing it is, there are certain fundamentals that show up everywhere. And when we identify those fundamentals, Now we have the basic building blocks. So then we bring in whatever else we already do. If I'm a psychotherapist, a psychiatrist, a body worker, a yoga instructor, a fitness trainer, whatever, an athletic coach, I already bring all these other skills to the table. And so now I've got under my belt the fundamentals of breathwork, and I can intuitively bring those things together and express them in my own way. And so the Breathwork Fundamentals course is about just doing that. It's giving people, supplying them with the basic knowledge and skills, theory and practice, and the fundamentals that pop up, that show up in all good, genuine breathing schools. So my idea is just to save people a whole lot of time and energy by distilling the essence of all of these various styles and approaches into basically a 3-day event.
Very well. I can speak to that. I am a prime example of that philosophy. You have saved me hundreds of minutes of when anxiety creeps up, or worry or fear, or whatever that mind wants to take over. We drop, I think your words were low and slow. We drop down and we embrace that parasympathetic. And yeah, I believe it wholeheartedly. So the last part of the event that we're going to be doing is this group healing circle on Saturday night. And I've been hosting a few of these over the past year, and I would like to, have you share with us a little bit, for someone who has, what's a breath circle? What's a healing circle? What's this group energy thing that we'll be doing? If you could give us a little excerpt about your thoughts around that.
Yeah, well, we sit around a fire here at Baja Biosan every night. And, people have been sitting around a fire forever, making decisions, solving problems, telling stories. The breath is a fire. In the Bible, the symbol for the breath is fire in several places. And the breath is something, it's one of those universal things that connects us all. And so when people breathe together, we're all breathing the same fire. And it's like when any group gathers, for example, a religious group, and they gather and they say prayers together out loud. Or I'm in a monastery, a Buddhist monastery, and we're all chanting the same mantra together out loud. Or a chorus of singers who are all singing the same song at the same time, right? What happens is that everyone's breathing is becoming synchronized. If the simple thing in the military, when you get 40, 50 guys and everybody yells together, "Yes, sir!" And the guy says, "I can't hear you." "Yes, sir!" Well, what did they all do? They all just took in a breath and they all exhaled together. And in that moment, everyone was connected, synchronized through the breath. And that's the power of breathing circles. It creates a connection that bypasses the mind, that's deeper than heart connection between people. And so breathing together, in fact, it's so powerful. That's why the word conspiracy, which literally means breathe together, to conspire, it took on a negative connotation through history because it threatened powers of authority. Because even a small group of people who began to breathe together, that group developed a real power, and it threatened the powers that be. And that's what a breathing circle is. It's a conspiracy. It's people breathing together. And something comes out of that couldn't come out of anything else. Certain things are possible and certain things happen when people breathe together. There's no substitute for it. It's a pure and direct way of establishing an energy field among people that lifts everyone up. And so if I get free and I'm in a group, I liberate the group. If the group raises their vibrations and I'm in that group, my vibrations get raised. because we're all connected through the breath. And so breathing circles and group breathing like that brings alive this deeper connection. It fills my battery. My battery charges other people's batteries, and we all come out of the session more connected to each other, more centered in ourselves, and we've all just literally shared all of our energy that cannot be spoken, cannot, it doesn't, you can't wrap your mind around it. And so it's an ancient tradition, people breathing together, and we have a modern version of it. It's not symbolic, it's not metaphorical, it's actual. We actually breathe together. And no one that I know of has ever been in a group breathing session and doesn't have something really beautiful to report afterwards. That's why we keep doing it everywhere we go in the world, because you can't argue with things that work. And then everybody puts into their own words what they got from it. So the sharing at the group breathing is so powerful because people take words right out of your mouth. It's like they're looking into your heart and they're expressing what you are feeling. So I think it's necessary in this time in the world. I'm a big student of the Course in Miracles. I have been since it first came out. And one of the most beautiful things I got from the Course in Miracles is this quote that said, "A universal theology is impossible. But a universal experience is not only possible, it's necessary." And for me, that universal experience is breath. And when we experience it together, we all ascend to some degree. We all heal something. And we're contributing to the healing of the planet at the same time as we are taking care of our own personal healing.
Yeah, that speaks numbers, Dan. I know with being in Annapolis and with the government shutdown recently, and especially the energy coming from, from all of that and the knows, the universal breath is really a powerful experience for many of us to band together. I know for a particular group breathe that I did recently, that was freedom was what kept showing up for us. How can we be free from whatever is happening outside those walls? So I am very much looking forward to our time together. Yes. So I think that wraps it up for today, unless you have anything else that you'd like to share with us to sign us off. Yeah.
No, if I get going, we will never stop.
Right?
So.
I know 21 days in Baja wasn't even enough, and I'm looking forward to resurfacing that experience in years to come. I know that the 21 days in Baja, for those of us out there who are not sure what that is, Dan is in a place called Biosana. It's an intentional community where he's building his retreat center there, and he's in the sanctuary. That's where he is now. And I had the pleasure of spending 21 days immersed in that love last year. It was a little more primitive, I understand, than it is now. But it's...
Yeah, we're making improvements every year. It's constant. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you call it the reboot camp. Which I can completely understand. It definitely took me back to my heart's roots and reminded me that breath is my ultimate healer. So for those of you who can, check out Baja Biosana and, mark February off as your detox month of the year. So sending love to you from Annapolis and from Maryland. I thank you for your time, and I'm very much looking forward to breathing with you and to allowing Annapolis to explore what you have to offer in a couple weeks.
Listen, we have some gifts and bonuses for anybody who's planning on attending the weekend. So anybody who registers for our program, you send an email to dan@breathmastery.com, and I'm going to send you some files, some things to begin to play with and look at. So when the weekend comes, you'll already have a head start. And The training starts as soon as you register. So as soon as you register, we're going to start sending you some really valuable material to just begin to prepare. It's not necessary, but you'll have a running start on the weekend.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
All right.
Thank you, Dan.
Go to breathmastery.com and start looking, and you'll get a head start.
Yes, and the registration is open. Tickets are live. There's some discounts available out there leading up to the event. So if you go to danbrulé.eventbrite.com, you can view the entire schedule with times and descriptions, and get your ticket to this amazing, energizing, electrifying event.
Expect miracles. Here they come.
Amen,
All
brother.
right.
Sending love.
Okay.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you, everyone. See you in March.
Take care. Bye.